Hello there, listeners. Welcome back to another episode of Life in Emotion. I'm your host, Grace Becker. I'm a licensed mental health therapist and an enthusiast of life, and I'm very, very excited for this episode today. I have recently grown my audience somewhat, and there's some people on here who don't know me, so I just wanted to, introduce myself. Hi, my name's Grace. I am 23 years old. I am a licensed mental health therapist. I work at a clinic and I work with people who live in North Dakota and Minnesota. I personally live in North Dakota, which is crazy. I've born and raised in Minnesota, and the switch over, it just feels very different energy. These North Dakotans, if any of you are North Dakotans, please don't come for me, but the energy is different. It's different, but not necessarily bad different. It's just different. But I am very grateful to be a part of the community now. So today's episode, I was going to answer some Q&A questions about myself, and there's some fun ones on here. I don't know if I'll answer all of them, so I'm going to kind of skim through, see which ones I will pick out and I will answer. But just so that you all can get to know me, maybe you'll relate to some of the things that I talk about. And yeah, just have fun with it. I like to have fun, so let's have fun, Okay, question number 1. What is a part of yourself that you used to hide but are learning to embrace? Oh, that's such a good question. Definitely parts of my appearance, especially my acne. I had an episode recently where I talked about body dysphoria and body image issues, and something that I kind of briefly touched on was acne. I've struggled with acne for a long time. I remember struggling with it since I was 11 years old, but it especially got to be pretty bad in my late high school, early college life. And when I was in high school, I would just cake on makeup to hide any acne. And looking back at pictures, you could still see it, but that's definitely something I used to hide about myself. And especially into college too, whether it was putting on makeup or was putting on BB cream, that kind of skincare makeup stuff, or it was putting my hair in front of my face to on the side of it to try and cover my side hormonal acne. But I've kind of learned just to embrace it, I've learned to accept it. I have acne scars, y'all, and they are not going away. My dermatologist told me that. I had a whole breakdown in her office 3 years ago about it. I cried to her. She's super sweet, super kind. We love you, girl. If you're ever if you're listening to this, she's probably not listening to it, but if you are, we love you. But that was definitely something that I really used to struggle with, and I would hide, is my acne. And I've just learned to embrace it and accept it for what it is, because you know what? Even though I'm there's things that I do wish I could change about myself. I would love it if I had baby soft skin and it was smooth and no blemishes, but that's just not part of my journey, and there's parts of myself that I'm sure other people look at and they're like, oh God, I wish I could have that I have, so there's always going to be parts of ourselves that we don't always admire, but I've learned to accept even those things that are hard to love about myself. And to recognize the amazing things that my body does do for me. So yeah, learned to embrace that. Okay. Question number 2. What is a belief you used to hold that no longer serves you? Ooh, a belief that you used to hold that no longer serves you. That's a tough one. Honestly, I think we're going to skip that question. Just because I can't think of anything for it. A belief that you used to hold that no longer serves you? I don't know, guys. I don't know. But as soon as I end this episode, it's going to come to me and I'm going to hate it. So we're just going to skip that one. But, if I think of it, I will definitely answer that question at the start of another episode if I can think of something. But okay. Let's change over. How has your definition of success changed over the years? Another really beautiful question. So, my definition of success has changed over the years, kind of depending just like the age and era of my life. When I was younger and maybe like middle school, my definition of success was definitely the friends that I had, the number of friends I had. Like if I was, had a lot of friend groups and I was a part of a lot of friend groups and I was getting invited over to parties and sleepovers, then that was successful because I was really popular, right? And then when I got into high school, my definition of success was my grades and how well I performed in school activities and if I diversified myself. I was a theater kid. I was a speech kid. And not to toot my own horn, but I was pretty dang good at them both. I was especially really good at speech. And I loved it. I really did love it. But I definitely prided myself success-wise based on my performance in those things. So if I like got a part that I really wanted, like I considered that a success. If I did really well at a speech competition, I considered that my success, right? But then eventually as you get older, it changes. And so then when I got into college, my definition of success was kind of like a little bit of a mesh of, like friends that I have in my life, but not just quantity of friends, but the quality of friends that I had. So I started seeking out people who were not just, like numbers, but that were people that I could like start to form long life friendships with. And some I have like we've broken off along the way, which is totally fine. So my definition of success has changed like partially in that way, because if I have friends who I care and I love and they're good and they're safe and they feel the same way about me, then I feel success. I would also say the same goes for my family, like choosing to embrace my family who also embrace me. I have some family members who I have cut off. Like I have straight up cut off family members who do not serve me. And I view that as success because I've been able to uphold boundaries and give myself that respect even when others don't give it to me. And I consider that a huge success. So yeah, like definitely friends, family, partner, Jaden, I consider our relationship a success. Is that weird to say? But my boyfriend, Jaden, and I, we have, been dating since 2025, since 2022. Ooh. No, 2023. Jaden, please don't get mad at me. 2023. We started dating in 2022. But we like became boyfriend girlfriend January in 2023. So, we've been dating for 2 years and we're going to be moving in together. And so like that feels very successful, right? To be able to get a home together, move in together and start our life together. There's also like personal little goals of mine that I've set. Like, every year I do a vision board and kind of like mapping out my goals and like how I'm going to achieve them, and like breaking down the goals. So I have like, that's another good way for me to measure my success. And some of the things that I had on my vision board for 2025 was to travel to Europe, was to become like debt free, go to more concerts. And I'm doing those things. Like I'm going to Europe in August. I am almost debt free, no more student loans, but I do still have a car payment. But we're working on it, girl. We're working on it. I was on concerts, right? I'm going to a couple concerts this year. So definitely like that is another good way that I measure my success and like kind of goals and, that I recommend to other people. So that's kind of how it's changed over the years. But it's usually a common theme is like people oriented. And I feel like that's something that's going to just stick with me for the rest of my life is, do I feel successful if like the people around me love me, care for me, and I love and care for them? Then yes, I think that will be my definition of success. And of course, my job, my passion, my career, helping other people with their mental health is to me one of the greatest successes of my life and one of the best things I'm ever going to do in my life. And so I am very, very grateful to be able to do that kind of work. So for sure that. Okay, next question. What is something you are unlearning right now? Definitely, and I think this is honestly just like, it's not linear. It's a lifelong process. Just like irrational thinking, you know, especially around like the body image stuff. But, you know, like I said, not linear. A person can learn all sorts of tools. I'm a therapist. I give tools and examples to people to work on their irrational, like distorted thinking. And I still struggle with it. You know, everyone does. And that's just something I'm trying to unlearn a little bit of, you know, like, girl, like we don't have to be perfect all the time. Like we can go easy on ourselves, or it's okay to make mistakes, or we don't get to choose what triggers us, you know, all these different things. So I'm definitely unlearning that negative, irrational mindset and trying to be more mindful with it. So that's that. Next question. What is a hard season in your life that shaped who you are today? Honestly, there's been quite a few rough seasons of my life that have shaped me. I would say for sure when my dad passed away, but not like in a oh I don't know how to talk about it. Like that shaped me in how my outlook on life. And it was really, really hard for a long time after he passed away. But I feel that because I was so young, I was 11 years old when he passed away. And he died in a car crash, and like another person was involved. I had to learn as an 11-year-old how to accept that my dad was dead and I was never going to see him again. I had to learn how to live with the knowledge that like there was another person in this world that like was a part of that happening, right? And like learning to forgive, right? Forgive that person. I had to navigate what it was like not to have that male role model in my life, which impacted me in so many ways after that, because I really struggled with relationships with men for a long time. And I'm not going to get too much into this because part of this is not my story to really share. But I'll share my experience of like, I know that after my dad passed away and like a year-ish, a little over a year later, my mom started going on dates more. And there was quite a few like people who had come into our lives because of that. And, I kind of got like a rough like outlook with men a little bit. Sometimes it's hard for me to trust certain men in my life. Like I'm a nice person, but when it comes to like romantic, sometimes it can be hard for me to open that part of myself up just because I've seen the way certain men have treated my mom in the past and how it's worked out for that. And like, I'm not going to go too much into that because part of it's not my story to share. But it's definitely shaped me, you know, and not having that role model of a man and how a woman, you know, ought to be treated in a partnership. It also made me very protective of my mom. I am a mama's girl. I love my mom so freaking much. I love you, Mama Kay. If you are listening to this, I love you so much. And I would do anything for that woman. I would do anything. I have a shovel. Like, tell me where we're going. I love her so freaking much, and I would do anything for her. So it's also shaped me in that way of like, when you lose a parent, you also learn how fleeting moments in your life are with the people you care about. I'll think about that with my sisters too. Like my sisters are 8 and 9 years older than me, so there's quite an age gap, and I don't always feel like a strong connection to them. Lately, as I've been getting older, I do feel certainly a lot stronger stronger connection to them. Just because I'm kind of entering that era of my life where I can relate more to the things that they have going on, and I do feel closer to them. But ever since my dad did pass away, I have especially put in that effort with people to be present, because you never know when it is going to be your last time with them. And I want them, like, when they, if when they leave this earth, knowing that I do love and I do care about them. So sisters, if you are listening, I do love you. I do care about you. I know you probably are cringing at me saying that, but it's true, girl. It's true. So I love you and shit, but whatever. So those are some just like few ways that a hard time in my life has shaped who I am today. Okay, what's another question? Have you ever outgrown a friendship or relationship? What was that like? So yes, both friendships and relationships, I think that is a kind of a common thing to happen. Outgrowing a friendship, there more recently, like friendships that I've outgrown, there was never really a big, falling out or big conversation. It was more so just like a drifting away. But I do have a previous long-term relationship where I just felt that it had like kind of outgrown each other. And how I worked about that was so my ex-partner and I, we had been together for 4 years, I think. And we had lived together, and the conversation of like how we had kind of drifted apart, there was no big event that happened. Like no one cheated. It was, it was a respectful ending of the relationship, and I still respect them. Well, I don't know if I respect them anymore, and I can tell you why. But when we first broke up, I respected them, and it was like respectful and all these different things. But I went about it in the way of like, we had multiple conversations before the actual breakup. Like I had brought it up to their attention of like, hey, like it feels like we're just kind of getting back in this same routine, the same cycle, and I want to break free from that. And we had just had so many conversations like that eventually it came time when, and it's so hard being the person to rip that Band-Aid off and to do it, but I brought it up to him and I was like, this is just not working out, and like, I do care about you and I want you to be with someone who like you can have that amazing like spark with, and that you can be in that routine, and that's great for you and this other person. But for me, I'm a Sagittarius girl. I need adventure. I need life. I need life in my routine. I do get bored if we just like get stuck in that same old. So that's kind of what led to it. But the tea on the situation is this person turned out to be rather rude and mean, not just to me, but to people I love, such as my mom, who I told y'all I'm protective of that woman. I'm going to get feisty over it because I'm a fire sign. I love her so much. And he was rude to her at an event, and she is a saint for real. And she's probably laughing at me saying that, but she is so kind to people, even people who don't deserve her kindness. And this person is one of them, my ex. And he kind of threw it back in her face, and I was feisty for her. So that made me lose respect for him. He was also rude to my best friend, and I'm sure it's hard when I can't say names, but that was just another time. Like, if you hurt the people I love, like, count your days. You better count them, because there's no coming back to me after that. I'm very firm on my boundaries. That's something that I preach a lot about, because I also know how difficult it is. I talk to my clients all the time about boundaries, and I tell them, like, yeah, it is so hard to set. And once you get going on it, like, it's going to start to become more and more natural. It was so hard for me to cut off my grandma, but I did it because I recognize that I, like, do not deserve that. And it was easy for me to end certain relationships and end certain friendships, because I just know what I will and will not put up with. And if you cannot meet my boundary, you're done. So, yeah. that's kind of where that ended. And I just kind of keep my head down if I ever run into my ex. But that is a time that I had outgrown a relationship and what it was like. It was also a little hard because we had lived together. I did talk about this also a little bit in my episode with like things you should discuss with your partner before you take the next big step. And we lived together, so that was an interesting dynamic. So definitely go back and listen. Like, that was a few episodes back, and listen to that one and hear me talk a little bit about that. But yeah. Okay, let's get into some more fun questions, y'all. How do you feel most loved? I feel most loved when we can spend quality time together. I am a foodie, so if you ever want to go get some lunch, get some dinner, if you want to make food, if you want to get coffee, if you want to get a fun drink, I'm down for that. I love travel, and I love like just experiencing things, quality time. So I definitely feel most loved when people show up for me in intentional ways like that. It just shows me how much you care. So I really do appreciate that intention, that intentional behavior from other people. What is the most vulnerable thing you've ever shared with someone? Oh, honestly, y'all, I love my audience. I have to say one of the most vulnerable things I've shared with people is my insecurity about my insecurities. So my episode I did on like my body image issues, like that is pretty vulnerable for me. It's vulnerable for me to share that with people in my life, let alone a whole audience of people. So if you do go back and you do listen to that, or you comment down below on this video, just please be nice, because I am a real human with real feelings. I know it's shocking, but it is true, so please be nice. What's a moment you realized someone really saw you? This almost kind of relates back to like, how do you feel most loved? A moment that I realized someone really saw me, and there's so many people I can think about in my life who do this with me, like my friend Taylor, my friend Merritt, Jaden, my mom, my coworkers. Like, there's so many people in my life that I feel so grateful to be able to say that I feel like really see me. And most often it's when they're validating however I'm feeling, and I'm coming to them and I'm like, this is how I feel. And they're like, yeah, that makes total sense. And I just feel so seen, I just feel so validated, so heard. So those are some moments that I just feel really connected with people. Because I'm a therapist, y'all. I love hearing other people's stories, and I love connecting with other people and being that person for them. But because that is my job, and it's something I do for like, I'm not out here sharing my side of the story with my clients, obviously. So when a person in my life, my personal life, who does that for me, I feel so seen, so respected, so loved and cared for when they're asking me about myself, like how I'm doing really, things in my past, things I'm looking forward to, like different things like that, and getting my perspective. It just makes me feel so seen by other people. So yeah. Okay, let's see. Is there any other questions? I feel like there's got to be like some fun little things. 2 more questions and then that's a wrap. So first one, what is a dream you haven't shared out loud yet? Eek! Do I want to share it out loud right now? Okay, I have one dream that I'm not sharing out loud yet because I'm hopeful that it's going to happen soon, and I don't want to jinx it. And I also don't, like, you never know where this podcast is going to end up. So I'm not going to share it yet. However, if it does happen soon, I will share it with you guys. What was the question? What's one dream you haven't shared out loud yet? I really, really, really want like a cute cottage home, and I want at least 2 kids. And I just want to live out in my little home with my kids and my family. And I would love to do like be like a part-time therapist, because I would go crazy if I didn't have any work to do. So I would love to do like part-time therapy, and just live my life with my family. That's a dream to me. I'm a family girl. And guys, my kids are not even born yet. And I love them so much. So that's a dream for me, you know. I would also love it if this podcast could like blow up. So if we can make that happen, that's another dream I have. Okay. And the last question, what would you want people to remember you for? That's deep. I would love to be remembered as the person who cared for other people, who was a supportive person, who was there for people in their time of need, that like day, night, whatever, I was there for them. And it doesn't matter to me necessarily the number of people I reach, whether it's clients, friends, family, whoever, coworkers, strangers. Like, it doesn't necessarily matter the amount of people I reach, but the way I impact them. A lot of people, like, will never really know the way we impact other people, but I would love to be remembered as that person who impacted people to the point where they feel like that somewhat of like, God, like, Grace, she was caring, you know, like, she really cared about me. She really wanted to know what was going on, because like, if I had an issue going on, like, that was enough for her. Because it is. When people come to me and they feel so safe with me that they feel that they can share sensitive information, vulnerable information, I feel honored. And the simple fact that it's a problem for another person, I take that, not like I take their problems on, but like I take it on in the way of like, I can empathize, I can validate, I can be there for them. Even if I don't know what to say or what to do, like, just being that presence for someone is such an honor. And I want to be remembered as the person who was there, who is there for people in the good and the bad. And that was a reliable person to lean on. Well, everyone, I think that's a good place to end for today's episode. If you want to learn more about me, let me know. Those were just some fun, like, random questions. Feels a little chaotic, but I had fun with it, and I hope you did too. If you like what you heard today, please share with people in your life. Leave 5 stars, leave a comment down below. I do like to do a little, like, leave an emoji to see who made it this far. So if you made it this far, let's have you comment the emoji of a heart. Pick whatever heart you want. Pick a pink heart, pick a black heart, pick a blue heart, pick whatever color heart you want, but just comment a heart. Thank you so much for listening. Shout out to my editor, Ben. Thank you for all your help with the podcast. If you want to get connected with me, all my socials are going to be down below. I post every Thursday, so make sure to stay tuned in to hear all about life in motion. But until next week, embrace the chaos and find the beauty.